Hi, this is Dave Turnquist. I'm a real estate broker in the Houston, Texas area. And I often get asked by different clients about, why should we use a realtor to sell our home? Can't we just do it ourselves? Or we got a postcard in the mail from somebody that wants to pay cash for our home and we don't have to pay any realtor fees, those types of things. What is it that you really do, and how much is it going to cost us? So let's take a look and see and compare three of the most common methods that are used to sell a home. The first one is the most common, and that is marketing and listing your home with a realtor and having them put it on the multiple listing service. You get a listing agreement. They take photos, room measurements, et cetera, et cetera. They Other agents will come and show the home, and we get offers from buyers, and those offers are negotiated. We get a contract. It goes to the title company, and we negotiate on any repairs, et cetera. So that is the most common way that homes are sold. Another way would be number two here for sell by owner, also known as FSBO. The seller would market and show and negotiate the sale of their own home. There are some companies that um, will help you with that process. They have like a little package that you can buy for a fee, or you can just run over to Home Depot and buy the for sale by owner sign yourself. And we'll talk about some of the pros and cons of that as well in just a couple minutes. And then, of course, there's the investor sale. A lot of these companies, they're either large companies, brand names, somebody like Open Door, or they're smaller investment groups that are local that will come in and they'll send you a postcard or they'll contact you by phone and just say, "Hey, we want to buy your home and we're willing to pay cash for it and we can close very quickly." So you kind of get excited about that. But let's look at the pros and cons. So first, the cash investor and how that works. A lot of times you'll get these letters or these postcards, and they'll promise to buy your house quickly. They can close in 10 days, 2 weeks, whatever, and they're going to pay cash, and you're going to get a fair price, etc. And they'll even send you like an amount, and usually the amount is a reasonable price. The problem with that is uh, that's not normally what you're going to get for the house. You need to keep in mind that these investors are there to buy your property for the least amount of money they can because they're in it to either flip the house and resell it after they kind of make some repairs or whatever, or they're going to buy it and use it as a rental property. And they want to get the best deal they can. They are not looking out for your best interest or your profit margin. So a lot of times they'll send you these offers and then it ends up changing after they have an inspection and find out there's these things wrong with it. Which, by the way, every home is going to have some issues that are going to need to be repaired or addressed. And they're going to come in and change the terms. They're going to want to offer you way less money after you've gotten all your hopes up. Sometimes they will keep in mind that they're often using their own contracts that their own legal staff have drafted. They may not even be compliant with the state law, the state that you're in here in Texas. They may not be compliant with Texas law. I can't answer that question because I'm not looking at their contract. But you probably wouldn't know that as a homeowner. So they often will slip in clauses and statements that are beneficial to them and not so much to you as the seller. We have heard of cases where um, they came in and offered a really good price and then came in and offered like literally half of that price after they did an inspection and, you know, browbeat you to get you to believe that all these things were wrong with your house and they'll never sell. Also, we have heard cases where they have these endless extension guidelines where they can keep extending the deadline of the closing, and there's really no way for you to stop it. And what they do is they just keep stalling and stalling and stalling, and then you have other people that may be interested in purchasing your home, but you can't sell it to them because you're already under contract with these people. And then they'll offer you a way to buy out of the contract. So you have to pay them a fee just to get out of the contract so you can sell your home to someone else who really wants it. So keep in mind, most of these investors are going to offer you 50 cents on the dollar to about 80% is about as high as they're going to go. Your home would have to be in really great condition for them to offer you, 80% of its value. But keep in mind, 80%, you're taking a 20% loss, all because they have promised you to pay with cash and close quickly. And by the way, that often doesn't happen. They usually don't pay you what they said they were going to pay you, and there's fees that are added on at the end that were in the fine print, and it often doesn't close as fast as you think it was going to close. So, just a word of advice: when you're dealing with these people, you may want to have an attorney or somebody look over the contract or the offer that they sent you. Often, it's not even a contract; it's just a letter of intent, which doesn't really bind them to anything. Okay, the next one is the for sale by owner, also known as a FSBO. The pros and cons. The pros, yeah, obviously, if you're selling it by yourself, you have control of the transaction. It's your house, your rules. You get to make all the decisions. You probably will not have to pay any agents because it's for sale by owner. You do have the ability to pay an agent if they bring a buyer, and many FSBOs will do that, but you're going to save some money. um, you have the potential to make a bigger profit. And I use the word potential in quotations for a reason. And some of the cons will explain that. You don't know the legal disclosure requirements, and you will have a lot of liability when you try to do this on your own without knowing what the law is. You don't have access to all the contracts and addenda that you need. Many of them are copyrighted and only available to realtors. And you may download something off the internet, and it may not even be from this state, and therefore it may not even be legal to use. Um, you don't know how to fill out the contracts and addenda. I taught real estate classes for years, and as a broker myself, I would get contracts from agents who got a license, and the contract wasn't filled out correctly. And I'm like, I don't understand this. How did you get your license? How did you pass the exam when you still don't know how to fill the contract out? So if it's hard for new agents to do, imagine what it would be like for you as someone who's never even seen one before. You don't have access to run a CMA, which is a comparative market analysis and sales data. And the reason is you don't have access to the multiple listing service that the realtors pay a fee for. You aren't a member of the local MLS, so you can't upload your home for everyone to see and market it. Here in the Houston area, it's har.com. So if you can't upload that information, how are people going to find your home except for the sign in the yard? You will have to schedule and show the house yourself. You don't know who's coming into your home, so you have no way to screen every buyer. You don't know if they're qualified or if they're just looking, and you don't know if they have a criminal background. Normally, as agents, we're going to check out the people we're showing homes to and find out, that they qualify. We'll get a pre-approval letter before we even show them a house. We also have to have them sign a buyer's representation agreement. You aren't trained to negotiate real estate transactions. Agents are trained and do this every day. And as a homeowner, you don't. So there are some things that you may not be aware of and things and kind of tricks of the trade that you might miss out on. So yes, there are a few pros to this, but there are way more cons when you're selling by owner. All right, let's look at the listing and selling your home as an agent or with an agent on the pros and cons. This is the most common method. Of course, the pros, you're dealing with a licensed, trained professional that does this for a living. Even part-time agents still do it for a living. Most part-time agents are going to sell between 5 and maybe 15 homes a year, whereas, full-time agents are going to sell, 20 to maybe, 50 homes a year. But they're all doing it. They're all being trained by their brokers. They're all going to mandatory education classes, and so they know what they're talking about. The agent will know what forms and addenda are required. If your home was built prior to 1978, you're required to have a lead-based paint addendum. But if you don't know that as the homeowner and you were trying to sell it on your home and you failed to provide that document, you could be in trouble. You could get sued for failure to disclose. Your agent would not allow that to happen because they know what forms you have to have, what disclosures have to be made, etc. The agent will handle the scheduling and showings. Most agencies have a showing service that they use. The showing service sets up all of the appointments, and you, as the homeowner, if you're living in the home, you get to approve all of those days and times, or decline them if it's not convenient. So the agent will set all this up, and you will be provided feedback from the agents that show your home. The agent will run current sales data to market your home properly and price it correctly. Agents have access to all of the homes that sold around yours and what they sold for and how long it took them to sell and when it sold. Was it 2 weeks ago? Was it 2 years ago? You won't have access to all that information, but your agent will, and your agent will be able to price your home um, appropriately based on the current market. You can't base the sale of your home on what happened a year or two ago. It has to be based on what's happening in today's market, and your agent will have that information. Next, your agent will advise you on issues that have an impact on the transaction. Whether if there's something that needs to be repaired, if there's something that you need to address legally, if there's some kind of lien on your property, your agent can help you and advise you all along the way to make sure that you are, getting the most for your money, and that when we get offers, your agent will then interpret the offer and explain to you what they're actually offering you. It's not just about the price. There are other things in the contract that the buyer might be asking for, like closing cost assistance, or maybe they want you to pay their agent, or other things that they want you to concede. So your agent will be able to explain all that to you. And understand this, when you sign a listing agreement with an agent to help market and sell your home, that agent represents you and your interest by law. They have to put your interest above everyone else's, including their own. Fees are negotiable and always have been. There was a lawsuit that came out in 2024 that kind of changed things in real estate. But to be honest with you, it's not really a change. Um, Sellers could always negotiate and interview various agents to list and sell their home. There was no standard or set fee to list your home or sell your home. Different agents charge different fees and offer different services. It's always been that way. Now, the cons of listing with a real estate agent. So there will be fees. Yeah, yes, it is going to cost you some money when you hire an agent to represent you. But remember, these fees are negotiable, and there are certain things that you may not need to pay for. Like you may not need an open house for your property, so why should you pay extra for that stuff? So let's say you're a professional photographer. You can provide your own photographs and save money, where your agent won't have to pay a photographer to come out and charge you for that. So keep in mind, everything's negotiable. You need to talk to your agent and find the agent that's going to work for you. Also, some agents and brokers may make you sign a long-term listing agreement that you can't get out of. As a broker, I've never done that. I always offer my clients, hey, you can terminate at any time. Just give me 48 hours notice, and we'll be out of here. If you don't want to work with me, then I don't want to work with you either. Uh, but there are some companies that will sign you up for 6 month, 9 month listing agreements, and then won't let you out of it if they aren't doing their job. So, I mean, those are cons. But overall, the pros vastly outweigh the cons. And there are a lot more pros that I couldn't even fit on the page, but I just wanted to give you an example. All right, so a quick summary of this. Um, you will rarely, if ever, come out ahead by selling your home to a quick sale cash investor. They're wanting to get the home for the least amount of money possible so they can make a profit off of it. That's it. So if you understand that they have to make a bigger profit than you do, then you know all you need to know. The for sale by owner, it's a lot more complicated than it looks. and there's a great deal of liability on you as the seller. Just because you didn't know about something doesn't mean you can't be held liable for it. And that's where a lot of problems come with for sale by owners. They fail to disclose material facts, or they tried to hide certain things, or they didn't know they were supposed to disclose certain things, and or they didn't use a legal contract, and all of a sudden things got all messed up, and you ended up in court. So there's a lot of problems there. And then finally, using a licensed real estate professional is, clearly the safest and best way to go. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to end up making more money and more profit for yourself by doing this, especially if you go in and you interview several agents and tell them what it is that you want and what you're willing to pay them for their services. So I hope this was helpful for you. Um, we're going to stop the recording. So if you have any questions, you can always contact me. I'm at sanjacenterproperties.com.